What is going on, beautiful people? How we doing? How we doing, everybody? It is Tuesday. We don't have practice today, so there's no practice updates, but there's always news in 49ers land because on their days off, they got to get players signed. They got to try out players. So when they start practice during the next week, they can get some new people in there. And with Nicholas John Bosa, unfortunately, having season-ending ACL tear, which is going to require surgery, they brought in some people. Now, tomorrow they'll make some official roster moves. You're going to see a lot of roster moves tomorrow. It'll be a busy day, then practice. But let's talk about it. So, 49ers they made a guy. They signed a guy that was on the team during the preseason and training camp period. William Bradley King, they signed him to the practice squad. He's a defensive end. Now, I know people are, that's not the answer to Bosa. It's not the answer to Bosa. That's just a depth guy. They need to figure out what the heck they need to do. So William Bradley King, they're signing him to the practice squad. I would assume that they're going to elevate Robert Beal or Tevin Gibson or maybe Alfredo or what's his name? Kid out of Washington, the Sebastian Valdez, Seabass. I think he might be a guy they can elevate. Robert Beal might be a guy they elevate, or Tevin Gibson. Those three guys could be guys that they elevate on the weekend. But William Bradley King, they need depth, right? And my thing is, this is the way I look at the 49ers, what they're probably going to do. They're probably not going to sign anybody like big yet or make a trade yet because they got to see what the team is capable this weekend. So it's a good test, a good barometer. What are they going to be able to do against the Jacksonville Jaguars without Bosa? They'll kind of see, they'll test themselves out. And I don't think they make a move next week either because it's a short week against the Rams. You kind of want to see what you got without Bosa. And at the end of the day, when you have a short week, if you sign someone, it's hard to kind of get them integrated into the roster and getting them, up to speed. So I feel like these next 2 weeks, the Niners are going to do their due diligence. They're going to call some teams. Obviously, there's going to be teams that are bad at that after 5 games. They'll see where they're at. Maybe they're going to have fire sales. Maybe they're going to get rid of coaches. There's teams like Miami that are on the fritz. There's teams like Houston who they're underachieving. They got an abundance of defensive linemen. We know D'Amico Ryans. And then you have a team like the Giants who they're 0-3. They're putting in their rookie quarterback. They got a lot of good linemen, right? They got, maybe Brian Burns. Maybe you rent him. Maybe you get a Kayvon Thibodeau. There's a lot of options out there. Then you got to look around the other options. I know everybody wants Hendrickson. So they're going to look around the league. They're going to make some calls. They're going to do their due diligence, see how they do these next 2 weeks. And then I think they make a move before the trade deadline. So before midseason, I think that's where the Niners are going to be. But right now they got depth. They're going to see what they can do without Nick Bosa in the next 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to make an immediate move right away. I feel like they're going to let this ride out. You got a good cushion. You're starting 3-0. Let your guys get back healthy. Brock Purdy's going to be back most likely. I'm thinking Juwan Jennings will be back. So I feel like that's kind of where the Niners are at going into this coming up week. So, Victory Tuesday. I don't know about it, Victory Tuesday. We were just happy to get moving, and let's see what the Niners can do. But I absolutely think they'll make some big splashy signings. So Niners also brought in some players for tryouts. Now, a couple of guys that they, nobody cared about. Titus Leo, Isaiah Thomas, Brandon Joseph, Jalen Mahomey. Who? Okay, but the big name, the 49ers brought in defensive back Shilo Sanders for a tryout, okay? Shilo Sanders, big time. This guy was, Colorado. Obviously, we know he played with Travis Hunter and Shador. That's his brother. It's the son of Deion Sanders. It's the Nepo baby. Like, Niner fans love their Nepo babies, right? We love Frank Gore Jr. We love Terrell Owens' son, Tariq Owens, right? We love all the Nepo babies. Bring them all to us. And everybody's going out of their mind right now thinking about Shilo Sanders playing for the San Francisco 49ers. They might sign him tomorrow. They need depth. We'll see what happens. The Niners are going to make some roster moves. Maybe they sign Shilo Sanders, He was undrafted. He went to the Tampa Bay Bucks this year. Didn't work out for him. And now he said, I'm going to look at other avenues if football doesn't work out, but he's got another chance. And maybe he impressed the 49ers in his tryout today. I think it would be cool to get Shilo, get some depth. I like Deion's son. That would be cool, man. Last time the Niners had a Sanders on their secondary, they won the Super Bowl. So maybe, yeah. Shilo punched the Buffalo Bills player. You gotta love that. That was crazy. He got ejected, fined, all that stuff. That was insane. Uh, Kyle says 2 months ago you said you were born in '84. You thought I was 10 years younger. You're older than me. Oh man, yeah, I definitely am. 1984 baby. I'm 41 years old, so appreciate the compliment. I'm definitely an old man to many people, but appreciate that. Chelsea said, if anyone can save him, it's Salah. Yeah, if anybody could make Shilo Sanders look somewhat like his dad, Dion, it's Robert. It's Big Salah. It's Big Bob. Maybe we bring him in and we can make him get the most out of him. That'd be pretty cool if he saved him and he made him good and he played like his dad. I mean, I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as his dad. His dad's insane. Like these Nepo babies, they usually never amount to what their family does. I mean, it's not a bad thing. The only like player in not the only one. There's a few players in sports that were better than their dad, right? And they came in. Ken Griffey Jr., unbelievable, Hall of Famer. Barry Bonds, right? Steph Curry. Del Curry was a pretty good shooter, but Steph Curry's best of all time. And those are all NBA, different sports, NFL. Christian McCaffrey, right? His dad, Ed McCaffrey, who's a pretty damn good receiver. Christian McCaffrey, one of the best running backs in the modern era, but not many people live up to their father's legacy in sports, right? Jerry Rice's son, Terrell Owens' son, there's a long list. So we'll see. Maybe Shador or Shilo can turn it into something. I would love to see it. Sabonis, Klay Thompson, yeah. Shilo is definitely immature. I mean, he's a young buck, he's 25, but maybe he gets a second chance and the Niners fix him up. That would be cool. I actually would like this. I know usually I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go. You get another Niners kid. This would be cool. I wouldn't mind it. Go throw him on the practice squad. Let him develop. Let him sit around the bloodlines. And maybe we get Dion to come down to the games once. It'd be pretty cool to see Dion at the game. I'll be hyped up, and then he'll be a lot of media attention. I love Dion, man. Maybe you bring him in and see what the vibes are. Doesn't matter the sport. It's rare to hold on to the torch. Yeah, I agree, Kyle. 100%. It's hard to carry the torch from a legendary parent. So we already screwed, says the 49ers 2025. We don't even have a backup OT, a legit OT to replace Trent. Yeah, I know. That's definitely a cause of concern. If Trent Williams does go down, which I hope he doesn't, Spencer Burford's injured and he's out for a while. So this Niners team, I feel like one thing is for certain. They have not addressed the offensive line position for many years. And I think we've all said that. You probably all have sat there one day and said, Niners need to get more O-line. Niners need to draft O-line. Next year, for sure, they have to address the offensive line early and often in this draft because I don't know if Trent Williams is going to be walking through those doors next year, I wish he is. But also if he does, I mean, he's getting older, right? He's getting closer to my age, which is pretty old, like we mentioned earlier in the chat. So I hope the Niners can address that. I hope this O-line can stay afloat. They, haven't been perfect. They haven't been like awful, but it's just kind of middle of the road. And that's kind of how they were last year. But let's just hope there's no injuries. I mean, obviously we had Ben Barch, but I think we're all in agreement that Connor Colby is better off for the Niners than Ben Barch was because he's always a liability. So 49ers 2025 says, do I honestly think Trent stays healthy for the whole season? I mean, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say I don't, but I'm going to hope and pray he does. But it's hard to believe it because he doesn't have the best track record, right? He's getting up there, and that's a tough position. And, sometimes you just bump into someone and you roll your ankle, you do something, you pull a ligament. So hopefully he can. I really, really, really want Trent to stay healthy. But, he does have a history of just these little minor soft tissue injuries that, take a few weeks to get better from, some sprains here and there. But I'm praying, man, because we cannot afford to lose Trent Williams on this line. So, but we got to keep the positive vibes rolling. There's one guy that doesn't get a lot of talk about so far this week. He's kind of underrated. He's under the table. Niners just brought him back. Kendrick Bourne. I mean, I know he's not making like big plays. Oh my God, touchdown. He's dancing a lot, but I love his vibes. Like Kendrick Bourne brings a lot of energy to the team. He made big clutch catches down this, stretch of that game with Mac Jones. And I love the chemistry he has with Mac. Now, will his chemistry be the same with Brock Purdy? I mean, obviously not. They haven't played on the same team in a game. They've done practice and stuff, but it's going to be different with the Brock back, and KB. But I like KB's energy. He did have good chemistry with Mac Jones, and I feel like, his aura, his positive vibes really have helped this team, in the short time he's been back. So good to have KB back. I just wanted to mention him because nobody's really mentioned Kendrick Bourne, and I appreciate Kendrick, man. He's a good dude, good locker room guy. So MVS has been a non-factor. Yeah, I mean, they brought in MVS. He's done nothing. Kendrick Bourne's been here 2 weeks, and he's already had clutch catch. Like that last drive, the touchdown drive, right? Mac Jones was thrown to, I mean, obviously there's not a lot of players left. Jake Tonjes, he had Sky Moore on a pass. He hit Kendrick Bourne twice. That's who's available, but Kendrick Bourne came up with really, really, really important catches. That man catches everything that's thrown to him. I love him. He's really developed as a player. So good stuff. Good stuff from Kendrick Bourne. I felt like I needed to drop his name because nobody's been mentioning him again because he's not making big plays. But I did watch some film. I didn't watch the whole 22 like I usually do. Honestly, I was so tired yesterday. I went to bed early. And I was watching it. He had some nice blocks. He was really sealing the edge on some runs. He was getting active in the blocking game. So Kendrick Bourne, very underrated player. And nobody will you really won't see his name in this box score, but you watch the film, he does some stuff there. So Chelsea says him and Ricky are getting along great, which is only going to help. And that's another thing. He's kind of like the mentor. He's the big buddy. He reminds me of when Emmanuel Sanders came to the Niners. Now, granted, Emmanuel Sanders still put up a lot of production. Still had some big plays. Obviously, Kendrick Bourne's not making as big of plays as Emmanuel Sanders. But Emmanuel Sanders brought such a good leadership to the locker room, a big presence. And obviously, Kendrick was on that team with Debo, and they learned a lot from Emmanuel Sanders. Like, he was their mentor. You could tell, like, he's trying to do that with this Niner group. And him and Ricky Pearsall have such a good chemistry. They're dancing. They're hyped up. They're talking about each other after the presser, after the game in the presser. And they were, KB this. And KB's, Ricky this. He's that guy. Like, you could tell he's giving him confidence. Like Kendrick Bourne keeps telling him, "You're the man. You're the man. You're the man." And that's gonna reverberate. But Ricky Pearsall, he's like, "I'm the man." KB said so. And KB's a well-respected player from the fans. And if he's telling Ricky Pearsall that, I think that really goes well for him. So, I agree. Kyle says Pearsall's making a name for himself. Bro, he's so good. Number 3 in receiving yards, man. This guy is almost certain to get you a first down. Every play almost is a first down, except like 2 catches this year. I love what I've seen out of Ricky Pearsall, man. Wide receiver 1. It's crazy. I still think he's gonna be wide receiver 1 when BA comes back. Like, this guy is just incredible. He's absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna get a Ricky Pearsall jersey. For now, we got the Ricky Pearsall T-shirt, and I love this thing. The number 1 is cold. Bulls love the number 1 single digit. Man, Ricky Pearsall, he's great, man. He's showing why he is number 1 a first round draft pick. A lot of people were skeptical. A lot of people were. Good stuff for him. No, he needs more touchdowns, Carl. I agree. He does need to get in the end zone, but he's a big play receiver. He gets them close to the end zone. I need to see them reward him with the tutty. Like, that is definitely something that he needs to work on, is get those touchdowns. But sometimes guys just don't get touchdowns because when it gets in tight spaces, they're going to be doubled up, or there's other options, or the defense changes the way they play. So he almost had one a couple weeks ago, but unfortunately, Tariq Woolen got his fingertip on it. That's the only good play Tariq Woolen made against us in the game against Seattle, and he got that fingertip on it. But other than that, I feel like he just hasn't had an opportunity in the red zone because they're not always looking at him. But he's always open, literally always open. His route running, fantastic. I'm watching that game, and I'm seeing him as the plays are developing. I'm just like, he's open. He's open every single play. So Ricky Pearsall's route running is fantastic, and he's a great player, good attitude. I love his energy, and he's such a humble man. And coming from all that adversity he had last year, it's absolutely incredible to see what he's doing right now. So I'm rooting for Ricky, man. Not to mention you have him on your fantasy roster. Yeah, for sure. 49ers need to stop wasting capital on rental players. And the problem is they get injured and they need to rent players. They need rental players. So it's definitely unfortunate for the Niners with how they go through a season. I mean, there was a graphic I saw today And I mean, it's like almost every year they're within the top 5 of being the most injured team. They're like always a top 5 most injured team. I mean, obviously, without even seeing the graphic, we understand that, right? We know that this team is just always seemingly hurt. And it's just like, come on, man, what do we got to do? So, yeah, sometimes they have to get rental players. And, we don't always want these rental players, but we have to survive. We have to get through the season. And the team wants the Super Bowl. We're all desperate for one. We're hungry for a Super Bowl. And the Niners know it. They're like, we got to give the fans a good team to cheer for. Because right now, let's see the Niners, right? You got Nick Bosa. He's going to be on the shelf for the year. Do they just tuck their tail in and go with who they have? No, they know they got to bring in a superstar to replace Bosa. Maybe not someone as good as him, but someone that's an upper echelon player. But it's not going to be a long-term solution because you still have Nick Bosa on the books on a big contract. They got the insurance policy, which we learned earlier today. But at the same time, you still have to make sure you get a guy that can at least give you a chance to compete. Niners have a Super Bowl. 49ers are hosting the Super Bowl this year. You got to run the table. You got to try it. You got to try to put yourself in position to win it. Yeah, Nick Bosa's hurt, but we still got to push through and win games. So, I mean, that's unfortunate for the 49ers, but sometimes we got to rent players, man. So, yeah, Kyle says Lynch needs to get a stone cold player or 2 decent ones to replace Bosa. It's easier said than done. Players have to agree to offers, but a 1-year insane deal and just right the ship. Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. They can't just get anybody. They can't just go and get like a mediocre player. They can't just go get someone that's like, okay, whatever. They need to get someone that's pretty damn good or has a lot of potential. He's a young player that has potential to just like be good, or 2 really above average players. You just can't get average, mediocre players and expect, okay, we're good. Let's patch the hole with some duct tape. No, you can't patch the hole with some duct tape. You need to replace the hole, and hopefully that it sticks, stays together. So 49ers can't just patch this with sticks and glue, but it looks like the whole team right now is sticks and glue. But they cannot patch this with like cheap stuff. They have to go and get something decent. They have to get somebody decent. So Louis says, do I think they brought in Shilo for a tryout because of Jair Brown? Maybe they want to trade him. Maybe. I don't think he's hurt, but the only player I know in the secondary that is hurt following Monday's report was Renardo Green. He had a neck injury. Now, I don't know how serious it is. They did consider him day to day. The only injury I could see the 49ers bringing in Shilo is because of Renardo Green. That's the only reason I would say they bring him in. But, I mean, let's see what happens tomorrow practice. Rob says nobody is going to replace Bosa. Yeah, you can't just like replace him. But what you do is you have to get players that can at least give you some depth and give you some, you got to be able to, again, not replace. You can't replace Nick Bosa. He's a generation player. But you have to get some people that are going to give you some, some abilities out there, and good reps, good snaps, right? They're going to have to be able to put some plays together, get some pass rush, and not just guys that are out there to be out there, right? You just need some guys that are actually going to do some work and give you some, some oomph out there. Not just anybody. You can't just go, okay, we're going to get this guy. He plays defensive end, John Smith. Let's just put him online and see what he does. You have to get somebody that's going to contribute and give you some type of energy and some actual stats and some actual pass rush, some pressures. He's got to have to actually produce for you. Got to have a guy that's going to get you production. So 3-0. Yeah, we are, young CJ. Raj, he says, with 3-0, baby, 49ers should sign Shilo Sanders. Let's do it, baby. Sign him up. I'm happy for it. Kyle says the rookies will be bombed by week 8. Yeah, the rookies are getting better and better and better. And, it's unfortunate that we got injuries, but it is fortunate that we have such a good young mix of players. And they're going to get better every week. You're going to throw Michael into the fire. You're going to throw this guy into the fire. They're going to get better and better and better. And that's what I like to see. So, yeah, Rob, it's like Farrell and Tonjes having to replace Kittle. I mean, obviously they're not going to be better than George Kittle. You're not going to get the production that George Kittle is going to give you, but you're going to get production. You're going to get guys that go out there and compete and put up some numbers. And Jake Tonjes is actually kind of him. He's low-key bit balling, man. I love what I've seen out of him. Obviously, George Kittle would be getting 100-yard games or whatever, but Jake Tonjes, man, has made some clutch catches, and I got to put respect on his name. So, That's a good point, Rob. Like that's what the Niners need. They need players that come in and compete and put some production on the board, not just Joe Schmo out there. So Yannick Ngakwe, says Luis. I would take him. I mean, yeah, the Niners could have got him a couple years ago. He had 10 sacks a few years back. Get him. But he's not the only guy. You need to get another guy. I think Yannick and someone else. Because Yannick had like one good year, and he didn't have anything after that. But I feel like in the Niners defense, he could be good. Jake Tonjes, he's good. I know he is, CJ. Jake Tonjes is the dog, man. I'm surprised. Yeah, Retro says, Rob, and I know they can't fully replace Bosa, but the Niners need just a one-year trade or rental. Yeah, they need a guy that's just going to come in and put some production on the board. Like, you can't, like I say, you can't just go get like Joe Schmo. You need to get someone that's like, oh, okay, my boy, you got some good talent. Like Trey Hendrickson would actually be fantastic. But like, I know it may not happen, but if the Niners could pull off a trade for Trey Hendrickson, oh my God, man, because he's only on a one-year deal. You know, he still wants big money. And the Niners say, let's rent you for a year, and then you figure it out. If you play lights out, you're going to get a contract anywhere, right? Because you'll play great. You'll fill in for Nick Bosa, and that's what he wants. But it's really tough because the Bengals are in a tough position, man. They lost Joe Burrow. Like, is their season over? Probably, but they're still going to try to fight, and they lose him. I mean, that's a big blow to their defense, right? So I don't know if they want to give him up right now just for shits and giggles, unless they know they can't bring him back next year. So tough spot, man. And, you know, that's a guy that I feel like could come in, not 100% replace Bosa, but he'll definitely put up some production and be good because he's a couple years older than Bosa. Bosa's 28, but yeah, I felt bad. I was watching the film on that. And, you know, I've seen it with Bosa a lot. He's had 3 ACL injuries now through his career, dating back to high school. It's just the way he rushes, man. It's nothing but bad luck for him. It's just the way his rush technique is. He gets down low and he explodes, man. He's so explosive. It's that lateral movement. When he laterally cuts, I mean, sometimes you plant that leg and just lateral force and take your ACL. And that's exactly what happened. I watched that play so many times and I was like breaking it down. Actually, one of the OTs I work with on my clinic, he was like, because we were talking about it, and I was pulled it up and I'm like zooming in. We do like injury diagnosis on these players. It's kind of disgusting because we're rehab guys, and so we do. But I'm sitting there, and you see the moment he plants the leg and he makes like a lateral movement. I saw it right. I was like, oh, that's it, man. It sucks, and it was a clean tear, and it's unfortunate. But you know, he was trying to jog after the medical tent. Like you could tell he was trying to see if he felt good. I mean, but jogging and running in place is not a lateral movement. I don't think he could have done a lateral movement. If he would have done a lateral movement, it would have been bad. I saw people saying that, you know, his jogging in place probably made it worse. No, it was a clean tear. If anything, a lateral movement could have made it worse. But at that point, it's gone. And adrenaline carries you. But yeah, that injury was ugly to watch, man. It's just the way he explodes off that line. He puts so much torque. There's so much torsion on those ligaments when he like makes that cut to come inside. It's crazy how much force he generates. So, yeah. Bosa needs to replace his ACLs with some polycarbon fiber. I don't know what he's got to do. It's just unfortunate for him, man. It's just gut wrenching for Bosa. Space age. Yeah. Should have signed his brother when we had the chances, Chelsea. We would have had, you know what? It's like, okay, you lose one Bosa, you get the other one. But his other brother, like he's had more like injuries, but not like ones that, not like a torn ACL. He's had a lot of nagging injuries. I think like ankle sprains. He's had like a calf sprain. He's had like a hamstring pull. He's had some like stupid injuries. I think he had a neck injury one time, like a lumbar spine injury. He's never had like season like ACL tear. He's never like tore anything where he had to have surgery, but he's always had like nagging injuries. So I don't know, man. And you know, not Niners luck. You bring in Joey Bosa, probably fucking tear something, you know, unfortunately. So I don't know. It would have been cool if we signed his brother. Because then you just replace one Bosa with the next. So we'll see. I mean, the good news, if there's any good news on injuries, is the Niners save a little bit of money on the cap hit. They took an insurance policy, injury insurance. So they get like $7 million next year. I mean, $7 million is still pretty good, right? They can go add some money to a guy. So I'm saying they have money to get someone. So And the cap's it's gonna help them next year, with whatever they got to do. But I'm just gonna, hope that Nick Bosa gets better. Prayers up to Nicky B, and let's see what the rest of this week looks like. Niners go back to practice tomorrow. Will they sign Shilo Sanders? I hope they do. I got the breaking news post ready to roll, and we'll see what else the Niners get into. We'll get our first practice report of the weekend tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm excited to see how the 49ers look heading into Sunday's game against the Jaguars. 49ers go 4-0, or will the injury be too much? We'll find out. Stay tuned on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z, right? But I think Fred Warner's going to just put the team on his back, man. I feel like he's going to play out there. You're going to see him do the Bosa shrug. It's like he did in 2020. He's going to go out there, and he's going to play for Bosa, man. You know it. They're going to win for Bosa. So, yeah. Eddie P, baby. Louis says, this is giving me the 2020 season. It's giving you 2020, but we're winning games. That's the difference. The 2020 season was brutal, man. But right now we're 3-0. That's a good cushion. We have a good cushion to start with. So let's just keep winning, and hopefully that we can find a way to continue to roll. But let's avoid anything major. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'll be live with Larry tonight at some point. Larry Kruger. I'm not sure exactly when, but we'll be live tonight. Nick Bosa, get better, my boy. I had to support my guy. You guys have a good one. Love you. Go Niners. As always, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and have a blessed